Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the third round of the 1958 season, the Dutch Grand Prix. It was held on the 26th of May. It had 18 entries, with 17 of them taking part in the race. 6 however had to retire. The race consisted of 75 laps completed in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 49 seconds. Evans started the race from pole with Moss in second, Brooks in third, Berra fourth and Jack Brabham fifth. Moss drove his van wall to victory. Harry Schell came in second, 47.9 seconds later. Jean Berra finished in third, 1 minute 42.3 seconds after Moss. Roy Salvadori crossed the line in fourth, he was 1 lap down. And the last point scorer was Hawthorne, he was also 1 lap down. We return to the Netherlands and the thrilling Zandvoort circuit, where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a tight right-hander, followed almost immediately by a medium speed left-right chicane, which itself is followed by a tight left-hand hairpin. From here the track opens up a bit until we come into turn 7, a medium speed left-hander. After this the track opens up again, but eventually we reach turn 12, another medium speed left-hander. This is followed by turn 13, a slight left-hand kink, but that brings us back around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Zandvoort circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix, coming around to set our first lap of the session. We have another car in front, but anyway, that was a 128.739. That's 10 seconds slower, more than 10 seconds slower than Maston Gregory's current pole time, but eventually we come around and set a slightly faster time of 126.958. Unfortunately, I went a bit wide, so that made me lose a lot of time, and from here on out I started making a lot of mistakes, and well, unfortunately that was my fastest lap of the session. And here are the previous Dutch Grand Prix winners. We have Toulouse de Grafenried, Andrew Higgs, and I didn't catch the last name anyway. Here we have the grid walk, and we have Roy Salvadori on pole with Maston Gregory in second, Sterling Moss third, Peter Collins fourth, and Tony Brooks rounding off the top 5. In sixth we have Maurice Trintignant, followed by Mike Hawthorne in 7th, Luigi Musso 8th, 9th is Phil Hill, Juan Manuel Fangio 10th, 11th is held by Graham Hill, followed by Harry Schell in 12th, 13th is Wolfgang von Trips, 14th Gendebien, 15th Bruce McLaren, followed by Andy Higgs in 16th, Jack Brabham 17th, 18th Joe Bonnier, 19th Stuart Lewis Evans, and Jean Berra starting from 20th. So back in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. I'm quite excited. I really like this circuit. It's one of my favorites. It has a very nice flow and it feels good to drive around here. And we are off. I tried to get around Gendebien there, but he kind of blocked me, so I have no choice but to back off as we now rush into turn 1. We did actually manage to gain a couple of positions, but not as many as I could have been able to if Gendebien wouldn't have blocked me. As we now come into this chicane, I kind of cut the track there, went a bit too heroic I guess, and as a result I kind of, well, did stupid things and then allowed Gendebien to go back in front of me, but then he and someone else lost control of their cars, and well, here is another look at that. A lot of smoke coming off my rear wheels, and again we see Gendebien there kind of blocking me, and I then slot in behind him just to, well, make use of his slipstream as we come into the chicane here. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking, but I wanted to get in front of Gendebien, and it seems that I kind of took it a bit too far, because that wasn't a legal overtake. I gave the position back obviously, but then he lost control of his car. And this is a replay of Graham Hill coming through this right-hander. He loses control of his Lotus, he flips it upside down, and he is out of the Dutch Grand Prix already. And next we have Juan Manuel Fangio in the Maserati coming through the same right-hander and does a bunch of flips, loses control of his Maserati, does a bunch of flips, and he is also out of the Grand Prix, obviously. Next we have Phil Hill in the number 10 Ferrari there. He hits someone, loses his front right end, is out of the Grand Prix as well. And finally we have Peter Collins coming through this right-hander, flips his Ferrari upside down, and he is also out of the Grand Prix. As we now move on to lap 2, we are in 3rd position. Stirling Moss is in front of us, Tony Brooks just behind us. There's only 1 second separating us, and towards the end of lap 2, Tony Brooks manages to overtake us, but then he loses control of the car. I tried to maneuver around him, I couldn't quite make it. I hit him, then hit the fence, lost my front right end. That's the end of the Dutch Grand Prix for us as well, unfortunately. But this is a replay of Harry Schell coming through turn 1 here. He loses his brakes, and well, unfortunately he has to retire because, well, driving without brakes is not a very good idea. So yeah. And here is a replay of Mike Hawthorne coming through turn 1 as well. He kind of takes the corner a bit too sharp, hits the curb there and flips his car over, and that's the end of his race. This is Gandebian's yellow Ferrari coming through the right-hander a bit too fast, flips his car upside down, and he is out of the Grand Prix, obviously. Next is Joe Bonnier, who also loses control of his car, flips it upside down, and he is also out of the Grand Prix. A lot of people flipping their cars upside down, by the way. And here we are coming through this last corner. Again, I tried to avoid crashing into Tony Brooks, but I couldn't, so unfortunately that is the end of our Grand Prix. And almost managed to complete 2 laps, but not quite. It's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do, as we see a bunch of cars getting past us, going past us even, if I could talk properly. And hey, there's Wolfgang von Trips giving us a little visit. Anyway, we move on to lap 3 here, and we see Jean Berra coming into turn 1, loses control of his car, flips it upside down like pretty much everyone else, and he is out of the Grand Prix as well. Next we have New Zealander Bruce McLaren coming through the second hairpin here, flips his car upside down, and he is out of the race. Here we have Luigi Musso in the Ferrari coming through this right-hander, loses control of his car, flips it upside down, and he is out of the race. I'm starting to getting tired of saying the same thing, but well, here is Jack Brabham, loses control of his car and flips it upside down. I'm really starting to get tired of saying this same thing all over again. Here is Wolfgang von Trips doing the same thing. And he is out of the race, obviously. I need to try and find different ways to call all of this. Anyway, we move on to lap 6, and this is Stirling Moss losing control of his car, crashing into the fence, losing his front right, and he is out. Next is Maurice Trintignant doing the exact same thing, although he does manage to put a bit more distance. Then we move on to lap 16. This is Tony Brooks finally losing control of his car again, but this time it's, well, terminal for him. He actually retires after this, obviously. And then we have Maston Gregory, who loses his brakes coming into the hairpin here and had to retire because, as I said previously, it's not a very good idea to race without brakes. And here is the man of the hour, Stuart Lewis Evans, coming around to take the win of the Dutch Grand Prix. Very, very good drive for him. He's the only one who managed to finish, so special congratulations, I think, should go to him. Maston Gregory managed, although, to post the fastest time of the race. And here are the retirements. 19 of them, to be precise. That was the Dutch Grand Prix, and I'm starting to notice a pattern here. This is the third race in the season, and up until now, each and every race only saw one person finishing. Stuart Lewis Evans here and Andy Higgs twice before, so I'm hoping this is not something that's going to occur again and again throughout the season. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 68th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 3 pole positions, has set 13 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 47 races, 41 of them in the points, has won 26 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 4 in Monaco, has 5 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 280 points, has retired 21 times, has experienced 1,563 out of 1,926 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 5 silver trophies, 26 gold trophies, and as an extension 26 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Andy Higgs is still in the lead of the championship, obviously. Stuart Lewis Evans moves up into second with 8 points, and Gregory, who managed to post another fastest lap is now in third with 2 points, so hooray for him. And at the very bottom of the standings we see Wolfgang von Trips. And now moving on to the constructors, we have Lotus leading with 16 points and Van Wall in second with only 8 points. So that's the constructors championship. No one else managed to finish the race, so no points for any of the other constructors, unfortunately, or manufacturers as they were called back then. So that was the Dutch Grand Prix. Disappointing as pretty much every other race before this. I really don't know what to say. It's kind of odd. It looks like this season is going to be worse than any other season we had so far, so I'm not really looking forward to that, but oh well. Anyway, our next race is the Indianapolis 500. This is one of only 2 remaining Indianapolis 500 races in Formula 1, so we might as well try to make it a good one, so hopefully we'll see more people finishing. That would be quite nice. But anyway, that is the end of the video, the end of the Dutch Grand Prix. Again, not a very good race, but hey, what can you do? Anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment, I'm doing a playthrough of the original Need for Speed Underground, so if you're interested, I have a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp!